Welcome to the Cat's Pajamas, where we celebrate the coolest and quirkiest things happening in our community. Today we have an interview with Joey Stepp, who's a local magician. So Joey, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so how did you first become interested in magic and what inspired you to pursue it as a profession?
First, I want to say that as a child, no one thought that I would grow up and be an entertainer. I was the awkward kid. I was an athlete and got to play football at Marshall. And during my time at Marshall, I became a bartender, and I've always loved learning weird things. So I became a flair bartender. I flipped bottles and juggled behind the bar. And one day at Easton Shopping Plaza in Columbus, Ohio, I saw a street entertainer. He was a busker. He just went around, set up, did a 45-minute show. And I was blown away by his talent and everything that he had going into it. So I spoke to him after the show. He kind of pointed me in the direction of where to learn, where to get resources to learn magic. And then one card trick turned into two card tricks, turned into shows all over our state and pretty much all over our country. I've been to multiple states and multiple venues. It's been a cool journey.
Yeah, so what are some of the challenges you faced along the way? Like, did you teach yourself how to do it?
Yeah, living in our area, there's not a whole lot of resources. At that time in Huntington, there was a store called Magic Makers. It was a costume shop, and there was a local magician that had, in the corner of the store, he had a magic shop. And when I walked in and told him I was a bartender that wanted to learn how to do magic, he laughed and told me it would never work. So I was pretty discouraged, but I found, of course, in the great world of the internet, I found all kinds of online resources and just started learning. I'd buy DVDs. Now everything's like downloadable videos, but I would buy DVDs every couple of weeks and just study different tricks. And luckily for me, I had a venue downstairs. I lived above the bar, and 7 nights a week I was able to practice and just see what worked for me.
Yeah, so how old were you when you first started doing shows on your own completely?
I started doing magic behind the bar at 19, and I always say his name wrong, but I have to say his name. Dr. Roby is a doctor at CMC, and he saw me walking around an event just doing card tricks. And my first ever show, he said, "Hey, tomorrow I have a Christmas party at my house. I would like for you to come and do magic." Mm-hmm. Well, at that moment, I could do card tricks for anybody, just walking through events or walking down the street. Never did a set show. And the night before, it was the next day, so I go home and went to sleep. And I woke up the next morning, and I had about 12 hours before the gig, and I'm like, what if he wants me to do like a stand-up show in front of everybody? And I kind of panicked and jotted everything down that I could. And I went into his house. Sure enough, I was in the living room in front of about 25 to 30 of his coworkers, and I did the best show that I could. I think I charged him $80 to do that show, and now I charge much more than $80. And he still hires me every couple of years to come and do entertainment for his coworkers and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So what would you say makes your magic unique or sets you apart from other magicians here?
I'm hesitant because I'm afraid how many magicians will see this, because I'm non-traditional. I wear cargo shorts and a polo, and when I do shows for kids, I don't look like someone special.
Yeah, no top hat, no bunny rabbit.
Yes, ma'am. No tuxedo. I don't dress like I'm better than them. Just yesterday, I did a show in Beckley for a summer camp. It was 10 and 12-year-olds who have lived a hard life. They know what adversity is. And when I walk in, I'm dressed like this. They see me as one of them. And then I share my story. And just like all of us, I have a story. And my story relates really well with troubled teens. And I just connect better. And my show is just this hodgepodge of entertainment versus I want to be more entertaining than I do want to be magic, if that makes sense. So it's worked for me so far.
Yeah, so what are the different variety of shows that you do? You said you do kids and adults, so what?
Yeah, living in our area, the traditional business person would say that I need to focus on one genre, I guess. Mm-hmm. But my passion is to do magic for athletes, for college athletes, because I was a college athlete and I have a heart for those guys. But I do motivational shows for businesses. I've done shows for prisons. I love doing shows for juvenile centers. But as an extra income, because I work in the school system, I'm a school counselor, I've opened it up to where I do school assemblies. Anything of kids 5 years old and older, I've now started kind of outsourcing all the shows for the younger kids just because it's something that I don't want to do anymore. Not that I don't want to do it, it's just a different show. It's a different skill set. Mm-hmm. But I just decided that I needed all the money that I could get. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, but going through a divorce and losing losing a lot of money in my divorce and kind of starting over and having 2 teenagers that's going to go to college or whatever they're going to do after high school. I'm not going to twist the arm to go to college, but in trying to support 2 kids, I can't make enough money. So I saw an opportunity just to be super broad and book as many shows as I can. So that's kind of what I did.
Right. Yeah. Do your teenagers like to watch you?
They used to like to watch me. But there was, once I went through divorce and I had them 50-50 as far as custody goes, my kids have been in the car a lot of hours to go to shows. And they see my show a lot. They enjoy talking to my 16-year-old now that she's growing up and understanding the world of business. We talk more about the business side than anything else, like how much you charge for travel and why did you do it this way instead of that way and that kind of stuff. But she likes the marketing side more than anything.
Yeah. So do you incorporate any elements of like Charleston's local culture or anything like that into your shows?
No, not so much. I was, of course, I live here. I live in Putnam County now. I've been in Putnam County for 15 years, I think. I've been in Huntington way longer than that. But I was born and raised in Eastern Kentucky, and when I do my motivational shows, I kind of talk about my upbringing and what got me places. And you know, I'm 42. I say it all the time. My kids make fun of me, but I say, you know, I've learned in 42 years of being on this planet. So I talk about living around this area, and I'm excited to be here. We have such a beautiful thing going on with our city. I was at the Juneteenth festival on Saturday. And between that and the art fair, our city was just beautiful, and I'm super proud to be a part of everything.
Yeah, we have so much fun things going on around all the time, and it really is exciting.
I post it probably weekly, but the people in our area, and when I say our area, within 2 hours of our city, if they say there's nothing to do, they're not looking hard enough.
Yeah.
Because there's truly enough to do.
Yeah, so let's see. Have you had any particularly memorable or unusual experience with that? Right, you could tell us a story.
Yes. Well, initially, the first thing I think is, and my girlfriend talks about it all the time, and my girlfriend and I have been together for, it's like 16, 17 months now. And even before we started, she sends me a text and says, I hope what you're doing is good for the soul. Gosh, I want to cry. But I'm an emotional guy, and I'm super grateful to get to do what I do. The fact that, like, yesterday when I pulled into my house after getting back from Beckley, I had driven 952 miles for the week. I did 11 shows. And almost every single show like touches me. I meet kids. There was a little boy at the show last night that everything I said as far as like life lessons and that kind of stuff, he's shaking his head because I could tell we have a connection. I was at a church camp in Ohio, and this little boy, his initials were JD, and every trick that I did, he would scream, "God made you do that!" And it was just the sweetest thing in the world. And they were also troubled kids, and it's special to be able to see the reactions and just to feel that. Like sometimes I feel guilty that I charge. But the most memorable one, I was at Middle Tennessee State University at Murfreesboro, Tennessee, doing a show. And I do a show where I can predict your passcode on the iPhone. Okay, and I've not done it for a really long time, but I brought someone up on stage. This was after my show, and it was for the theater group that put the show on for the athletes. And the director asked me to do the show for the theater kids. And on stage, this is the only time it'll ever happen. It'll never happen again. But in doing the trick to figure out this lady's passcode, I realized that her passcode and my passcode were the same. And usually the trick is I unlock her phone, the crowd goes wild. But I had her phone in my hand. And I was like, hey, I'm going to call her Mary. Mary, my phone's on that table. Will you go get my phone? And you're going to put your passcode in my phone. I'm going to put my passcode in your phone. And we'll hold it up like this and see what happens. And of course, it's the same exact passcode. And both phones came unlocked. And it's just one of those special moments, just like we talked about earlier. Like, it's hard to have content. I wish I lost money by not videoing that part of the show.
Yeah.
But stuff like that happens all the time.
That's so cool. So what advice would you give to aspiring magicians who want to pursue magic, maybe part-time or full-time or just on the side for fun?
Look, email me and I'll tell you what tricks. No, I'm just playing.
Delicious cuisine, refreshing drinks, and live music. Bridge Road Bistro has it all. Our fabulous new spring menu is turning heads and leaving our diners delighted. Enjoy lamb, chicken, swordfish, and more. Bridge Road Bistro. We've got it all.
The hardest thing about magic, and I think I tell kids too, no different than a carpenter, I have a set of tools. Okay, in order to do magic, I have to have tools, whether it's me using my brain or something that I've learned, just like the tools we have, the microphones and everything else here. Tools are expensive, so the hard part is you buy a lot of tools that you don't use. And as a magician, I don't have to do a hard trick to make it entertaining. And I wish that I had someone that mentored me to be like, hey, you don't have to buy all these hard and expensive tricks to get a reaction out of the crowd. Just learn the simple things first. You know,
Kind of
and,
build your way up.
and I think that it translates into life. Like truly, we as humans, we need to slow down and take care of the simple things, and all the big things, you know, work their way out.
Yeah. So are there any misconceptions about magic or magicians that you've come across?
We won't say that. Hold on. Just that, like, the fun thing is, like, little kids think I'm a wizard, but I'm not a wizard, and that's how I came up with the whole tool side of it. Like, you know, like, no, I'm not a wizard. I can't really read your mind, nor would I ever convince a kid that I can read their mind, because I think that's kind of creepy. But I do have a set of tools that help me figure out what you're thinking. A big misconception is that you have to wear a top hat and a tuxedo to be entertaining, or that, you know, that every show's only $50. You know, in our area, I will say this about our area, and I don't mean this the most negative, and I think our area is getting better. I do a lot of shows in Charlotte, and of course, a bigger city, more money flows freely. But our city is coming alive, and it's just fun to see all the people around. In Charlotte, I was doing an event similar to what I did on Juneteenth, and the amount of people that wanted to tip me money was unbelievable. But instead of taking tips, hey, just post something on social media because then I'll come back. Because in today's world, social media is more than a $20 bill right now as far as advertising goes.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite magicians or performers that inspired you and kind of shaped your shows into what they are now?
Yes. There's a British man, I think he's British. His name's Gazzo. And the only reason he inspired me was because it was one of the DVDs that I bought. I've not met him. He's actually super ill, and I wanted to go see him. He's a busker, which means that he goes to different cities and sets up. Like, he spends a lot of time in Key West, and he does everything for tips. Like, it's absolutely amazing. Excuse me. And then there's another guy from England that's named John Archer, and John Archer is somebody that wears shorts and like a collared shirt, and is just one of the funniest people on the planet and does magic. So he was on Britain's Got Talent a while back. But those two people I watch more than anybody. Truly only have a handful of magic friends that I've met in person. I'm involved in a bunch of communities. My TikTok video that went viral got me invited to join all kinds of text groups and everything else. But I find that some of them kind of frown about the way that I go about things. You know, the cargo shorts and the polo. A lot of these guys go out in 90-degree weather and suits, and I'm just not that guy.
Yeah. What would you say is like your favorite trick or like favorite joke or that goes into a trick that you get to do?
One of the last videos I posted on TikTok, it's called the Cups and Balls, and it's the oldest magic trick. I can't say the word, but the Egyptians wrote on the walls, and it's called hiero. Can you say that for me?
Hieroglyphics.
Thank you. They actually have record of people doing it, like drawings of them doing it. It's the first trick that I learned. And I'll always do it, but it's about a 4 or 5 minute routine. I posted it on TikTok the other day, and in 4 hours, it got 5,000 views, so which is cool. But that's my favorite. And then, of course, I've got thousands of other tricks that I do.
Yeah, that's so funny that it went viral on TikTok because it's such an old trick, but it's still just a classic that everybody sees it and they're like, oh.
Well, I think, too, that it's the interaction with people. You
Yeah.
know, it's the knack that I have because it's the laughter. I'm a comedy magician. Most of the stuff that I do is all about being funny. As a kid, I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but to stand up in front of people with no props or not even a deck of cards in my hand and make people laugh hard. But through my magic, I'm able to do different adult comedy shows and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like so much fun. Do you think you could do a trick for us?
Absolutely.
Today?
Let's do, and again, what a great segue. So most of the stuff that I do is comedy magic. It's to make you laugh, but this new trick that I've been working on is not comedy based. It's kind of like not horror, but it's suspenseful. So Haley, right?
Yes.
All right, Haley, here's what we have. We have a treble hook. If you don't know what a treble hook is, it's just it's a fishing hook, and then there's 4 strings. One of these 4 strings is tied to the hook, the other ones are not. Okay, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in my mouth and clench down on it. Okay, now the key for you is when you decide what string you're going to pull, you have to yank it. Okay, you can't pull it real easy because it'll hurt me, but you yank it, and there's no barb on them in case it goes through my cheek, and we can just pull it right back out, which has only happened one time. It's not a huge deal. Okay, and remember, I apologize to you first, but I'm just going to put it in my mouth. I won't be able to talk, but I'll hold them out, and you pick whichever one you want, kind of like a Russian roulette game. Okay, so here we go.
Just yank it.
Just yank it as hard as you want. Or you just tell me which one you want.
We'll do this one.
That one? Okay. And then 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is so much
Okay.
pressure. I'll go for the middle again.
Okay.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. And,
Okay.
mhm.
No. Should I do that one?
Mm-hmm.
This one? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yeah. I'll show you that it's hot on me. Pretty
Wow.
cool. Now again, like I said, that's not my traditional comedy magic stuff, but it's just fun to walk around. I do stage shows, which is what I prefer to do. I prefer to be in front of a large crowd and make people laugh like a comedy setting. But
Yeah.
here lately, and again, being a businessman, I booked shows. I was at the West Virginia Co-Festival, which was unbelievable. It was in Madison. It was packed. I did 2 stage shows for them, and then I spent about 4 hours walking around the festival. Juneteenth, I was just walking around the festival, interacting with people. And it's just a blessing to be able to interact with people.
Yeah, that sounds so awesome. So, well, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate the trick and learning about what you like to do and how you like to inspire people with it. And
Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's
And
been
I
great.
do want to say, if you want to find me, all you have to do is Google my name. I go by Joey Stepp Magic. So if you just Google that, you'll find my TikTok, Facebook. Send me a message on Facebook. Follow me on TikTok, that kind of stuff.
yeah, where's your next show coming up, like within the next few weeks that
On
people can go to?
Friday, as far as public shows, I don't have any public shows scheduled. If you live at Roxland Apartments, I will be there on Friday doing a show in the Pool House area. Other than that, after that, I have 6 shows with Cabell County Schools in their summer school program, and then I'm off until like July 10th. I'm on vacation. So.
There you go. Well, cool. Well, thank you again for coming.
Thank you so much.
think you're the cat's pajamas. So, yeah, it's been great learning about you.
Thank you.